Yesterday, someone told me a secret about someone that I care about and someone that I look up to a lot. And of course, that person wasn't around. And the other person who told me this secret, I also respect and look up to quite a bit. And I had this very interesting reaction to it. In the past, um, maybe I had a more immature mindset before where I know that the old me definitely would have been concerned and would have felt like stepping back from that person and maybe would have dropped some of my respect before finding out if it was or wasn't true, just kind of as a way to protect my heart. And I didn't have that last night. I had this really interesting reaction. The first question that popped into my head was to ask that person telling me the secret, well, do you think it's true? Do you believe that? And it really didn't even matter to me if they believed it. I it might be true. For all I know, I really didn't have any sense of whether it was true or not what they told me. Um, what I've been pondering today is that I decided what I was going to how I was going to commit to that person before and what I was going to get from the relationship before and what mattered to me and what didn't before really knowing everything about that person. And how can you possibly know everything about people that come into our lives? How can you possibly know if they're going to hurt you or not? And honestly, you kind of have to expect that they are going to hurt you. You have to kind of expect that they're human. So they're probably going to hurt you and they're probably going to make mistakes, and they may not even think that they're mistakes. And you're going to find out about things one way or another. And some people don't come straight forward and tell you all of their problems. And that's pretty normal. I definitely don't tell everyone my problems. And it was a really beautiful feeling to hear this pretty bad secret about this person that I really respected and to still feel like, you know what, that might be true. And it doesn't change the way I feel about that person, and it doesn't change my intention of this connection that we have. And if anything, sure, there are certain relationships, especially if it's a spouse or maybe a very close family member. If you hear certain secrets, of course, that could be different. But in other relationships, it's really difficult to go into a relationship expecting that person to be perfect and expecting that person to handle everything that life throws at you perfectly. And I feel like as I've connected with myself more and found my own flaws and learned to accept my own flaws and to love myself regardless and to really learn from everything that I've done and every mistake that I've made, it's made it easier for me to find out abruptly that other people that I love and respect and feel close to aren't perfect and make mistakes and do hurtful things, and still love them and still respect them and still feel for them. I think that our generation struggles a lot with deep connections. A lot of us have a really hard time with committing to people and a really hard time choosing to prioritize people over ourselves and people over things or activities or work or whatever it needs to be. And while priorities are not always people in our life, we definitely do need to choose those priorities. I just see it more and more that people are really struggling ever putting people first when they're not perfect. The minute somebody makes a mistake, or the minute somebody says something wrong, or the minute somebody hurts somebody else, we do pull back. And it's a defense mechanism that there's a lot of different things you've probably heard on it. I've most recently been reading about how we're treated as children and how that affects us as adults later on, and some of those things that we learn in the developmental time carries out into our adult life. I think that could be one of the things that we can fix. I think that's something that we don't have to settle for, and we don't have to be so alone and so afraid to connect with people. I think that things can be better. if we can understand ourselves, and if we can understand other people, and if we can accept from the beginning that people are not perfect and that people are by nature going to hurt someone else, many others, simply because we're different and we're sensitive, and people are going to be selfish sometimes, and that hurts others. There's so many places in life where you can hurt someone else, and there's so many places in our day-to-day lives even that something simple that we do can create a bigger effect on someone else. It's the butterfly effect, in a sense, like an emotional butterfly effect, where something little that we do or something that we don't even understand that we are doing can have a big effect on someone else. And it can cause these secrets and these rumors and these cautions that go out and these concerns that people let rot and develop infections in their hearts and cause people to prefer being alone because they're so afraid to be close to someone because they might get hurt. I've heard a lot of secrets, and I'm really at peace with this experience last night, and I'm really at peace with myself in that this is what I've been working on. This is what my mission in life is all about, is learning to love people even when they hurt me, or even when they hurt other people, or even when I find out dirty, dark secrets about them, even when they didn't tell me. Things like that are going to happen, and I want to live the kind of life that allows me to freely love and accept other people and to totally understand things that I really don't understand deeply and accept. There's so much freedom in that. It's a very lonely place to constantly be judging other people and their decisions with their lives and worrying about what if they do this and what if they do that. I've been learning a lot about Buddhism. I'm not a Buddhist, but I definitely agree with a lot of their teachings. And one of the big things they talk about is impermanence. And I love it. I love learning about impermanence because it is part of life. It's a part of life that we don't talk about enough. Impermanence is everywhere. Nothing really is permanent in our lives. And even the things that some would argue are permanent could be impermanent to other people. I get a lot of people that argue about religion and argue about deity and argue about certain views that not everyone shares, and they say, oh, well, that's permanent. That's a perspective. Because even if, let's say there's a tree in my backyard covered by another tree, and a child that's looking from the window only ever sees out that window, that child could think that that smaller tree behind the big tree is gone. And therefore, we experience impermanence even if it's not really gone. And so in that, if that made any sense at all, we experience impermanence in just about anything, everything. Our health, our relationships, our standings in society, everything is impermanent. And when we can learn that our understanding of other people is impermanent, and we may think one thing and it could change any minute, and we could find out something about that person, or they could do something that surprises us. If we accept that before committing to that relationship and committing to that person, it makes it so much easier to love that person when that impermanence hits, and when that change hits, and when that secret comes out, or when that action comes out that we weren't necessarily expecting. It makes it easier to continue loving them because you've decided to love them knowing that that's all impermanent. I love and accept everyone in my life. And there's been some people that have really hurt me, and there's been people that have hurt others that I've found out about it and felt shocked and hurt. But I feel that I'm able to love and accept them and love and accept myself because I understand. And even if I haven't been through the exact same experience that you have been through, I still understand, at least to a level enough to deserve that love from me. I understand you enough for me to worthily love you and accept you and want you in my life. Obviously, like I said, there are certain limitations and special exceptions. Can't talk today. But I hope this resonates with someone. It's something that I've been putting a lot of thought into and I wanted to share with. So thank you for listening. It's time to connect.